Welcome to Promise Resource Networks. Keep your power. The crowd goes wild. Yay. Today we're going to talk about fearlessness in recovery, how to be brave on those difficult days. And I'm trying to pull up what I was fixing to tell you. I got some quotes about bravery. Y'all want to hear? Let's look up the definition first. Fearlessness. Mingo, look up the. Do you have your phone?
Without fear.
Without fear. Yes. Oh, let's see.
Under fearlessness, it says bravery, and under bravery,
It says. Oh, Taylor Swift's got a song. We don't have any. Can you look up the definition? I didn't know Taylor Swift had a song named Fearless, called Fearless, titled Fearless. Anyway, let me see what I've got for quotes. I like this one. I've been fighting since I was a child. I'm not a survivor. I'm a warrior. Isn't that cool? Thank you, dear. The definition, courageous behavior or character, that fearlessness, courageous behavior or character, courageous, standing in our power, right? So, do what the average fear and success will be near. So what other people fear as we walk through it. Anybody have fear in their recovery?
Oh, yeah.
What do we fear? What kind of things do we fear?
I feared walking up the street to get here, and it was a long walk, and I felt like people were looking at me because there was a car in my head. Which probably they weren't, but
Yeah.
It was in my head.
And it's real.
Yeah.
If it's there, it's real. Right? Fear can grab a hold of us. Anybody else feel fear in their recovery?
Yeah, fear of the unknown.
Fear of the unknown. Rejection, absolutely. These are core fears. It says that, hold on. We fear being rejected and we fear being accepted and intimate with others. We fear failing and we fear success. We fear things always being this way, and we fear things that change, what change will look like. We fear going back in the dark time, and we fear what it will be like to live in the light. That unimaginable, we don't know what's coming, and that's very fearful. Fear creating. Fearology, fearistically. I'll just make up words. So fear, in one thing in Keep Your Power, when we talk about anger, we talk about fear because that's the base of it, right? I fear that I'm not going to get something I want or lose something I've got. And that's what they told me fear was. It can be all consuming, right? When I'm in my fear, I can lose what I'm doing. I can lose myself. Does that make sense? Good. Well, good. Nobody's chatting with us yet. What else do I have? To fear is to be human. It's normal. It's a normal human reaction to life. We say that we're having a normal reaction to an abnormal event. A normal reaction to an abnormal event. If a bear comes in this room, you better be afraid. It's not the time to go, I am fearless and I will take care of this situation. No. It's time to book it. So fear, when we come into a room, we need to assess what's going on in there. Is this a safe place to be? And I know you all did this when you came here. We do that automatically when we go to the store, when we go to family outings, when we go to places where we may need to have our armor on. Does that make sense? Sometimes fear can promote strength because as I walk through it, I'm going to go anyway. I'm going to walk through my fear and get there. Right? I never knew, like they always say, walk through your feelings. And I never really understood that because I don't know how to walk through that. I think, but when I show up, even when I'm afraid, when I show up, even when I'm angry, even when I'm sad, I think that's what it means to walk through your feelings, maybe.
We used to have a plaque with John Wayne on it that had some quote about there. He was like,
Yeah.
I did it anyway, or something like that.
Yeah, courage is being afraid and doing it anyway.
Okay.
I think that's it. Yeah.
I was watching a show, an outer space show,
Mhm.
science fiction the other day, and they were saying something about there was a warrior, and he saved a lot of people, just basically trying to save himself, but it saved a lot of people. And he was writing a letter that he wrote to his father, and it said something about the reason for his courage was because he was scared. And then he realized that there was such a fine line between courage and cowardice or whatever.
Mm.
One of my favorite quotes is something like, I'm too much of a coward not to be brave. I know the consequences all too dearly.
Ooh, can you say that again?
I'm too much of a coward not to be brave. I know the consequences too clearly.
Wow.
So like you have to be afraid in order to, you have to know that there's a threat in order to even be courageous.
Yeah.
That is fear.
Yeah.
Which is why you're fighting in any sense at all anyway, really, because you don't want that fear thing to demolish you.
Yeah. Consume us.
Yeah.
And make me freeze.
Yeah.
Right? I freeze or fight, or freeze. Yeah.
Okay.
We got freezers and flyers and
You said there was another one you discovered.
fawn.
That's
That's when we people please, when we try to make things all right.
I think
That's more what I do.
I think I kind of unconsciously do that.
Yeah.
It's just a learned behavior.
Yeah. Well, we learn about fear when we're kids, don't we? We learn about how to handle fear the same way we learn about how to handle anger and sadness and all that. So we've got to be able to. Are you on? Did it spray you? We've got little air fresheners, and Mingo just got baptized. So, so he smells really good now. Don't be afraid. Be fearless. Oh, yeah, just lean to the side. You're going to catch it here in a minute, too. The courage to be fearful. Ooh, I want to wrap my head around that for a second. The courage to be afraid, to assess the situation, not to always be numb.
Okay.
That makes sense? Kinda.
I think trauma can make you kind of numb, where you just, sometimes I just keep on walking, but I can tell like, oh, my jaw is hanging open, partly from my nerves, but like, it's just kind of an inner deadness. It's like, if it's going to hurt, I'm just going to be numb to it anyway.
Yeah.
I don't decide that, but it's just kind of an attitude.
It's an instinct.
Okay.
I think it's an instinct that we've, when I have been burned and traumatized so many times, I'm going to numb out. Does that make sense? That's my experience anyway, to numb out to the situation so I don't have to deal with it. So I don't have to feel those feelings of rejection, right? Of loneliness, of those things that come against us. There was another, living fearlessly is not the absence of fear. Fear will be there. Living fearlessly is acknowledging the fear, feeling the fear, and still taking courageous steps towards the life we want to live. Living fearlessly is acknowledging the fear. I've got it. I know it's here. Feeling the fear. That I'm not sure of. See? That I'm not sure of. And still taking those courageous steps to live the life we want. There is choice in this. There is an instinct, but after the instinct, I have choice. right? My instant reaction to a situation is my instant reaction, right? I can feel fear, I can feel anger, I can feel those things, but I don't have to stay there. Does that make sense? I don't have to stay there in recovery today. I want to be able to make those choices that help me live, like it said, live the life I want to live. So I got to make those choices. What you said about knowing the consequences of our choices, you know, to be fearful enough to be brave to do it anyway. You know, that's cool. That's really cool.
Fearful enough. Fearful by itself doesn't do you any good.
Mm-mm.
You gotta use that fear to surmount whatever else.
Yeah. Fear is an energy too. It's an uneasy energy that we don't like, though, I think. You know. Yes, Jimmy. Help me, Jimmy. Help me.
I was thinking about this in emotion. You know, for me, it was to feel emotion like fear for me today is not to understanding that it's a normal human emotion. All emotions, fear, either loneliness or anger, but whereas in the past that I wouldn't allow myself to experience that because time I started to feel it, I was going to try to figure out a way to medicate it, try to numb it away. So
Yeah.
I never really experienced, got the chance to learn how to manage those emotions. Learn how to manage them, so it's been, I feel sometimes, at least today, whenever I'm fearful or angry, I don't automatically think I need to go get a drink. But that does come over time. So
ABC.
it
Yeah.
does come over time. It isn't that all at once. But so just experience for me. It's just been a process of knowing that whenever emotion come up, that it's natural, and I ain't got to medicate it. I can work through it.
That's it.
So,
That instant reaction is to numb.
yeah.
You know, I feel crap. I feel now, even fear especially. I want to cover that up because when I drink, I'm big and bad. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
You can come around there. Yeah, come around. Hey, Elijah. Elijah is my hero because he is chill. It doesn't seem like anything rocks his boat. You know, so I appreciate that example. But yeah, sometimes I want to numb it. I want to get rid of that fear because I think it doesn't help me. Right? There's no purpose in his fear. But like I said, when I drink, I get big and bad. Right? So I can change that energy to a different thing. I'm still numb, but I'm beginning to take it out on others, that fear. Right? My choice today in how I'm going to walk through this experience, right? Let's see what else we got. Take a look at the fear. This one is hard. The truth for most of us is that it's easier to turn away from fear. Decisions are based in choice and not fear. The first step for practicing fearlessness is to actually start to become familiar with fear. Those are two hard words. Familiar with fear. I understand that because I wasn't able to wrap my head around my diagnosis my mental health issues until I got an accurate diagnosis. And then they said, okay, this is this.
How long
And-
did that take? I mean, like, so for some people, it takes like 20 years or something.
Well, to be honest, I started receiving services when I was 20 and I was probably 45 when I got that.
Wow.
So it wasn't a very well known, but once I got the name of it, then I was off to finding out.
You know what the problem is.
Yes,
Okay. So you know what to work on.
that's it.
Okay.
Know what fear is, know how it looks on me, right? When I can anticipate, like I said, we're going to come into a room, we're going to assess it. Is this a safe place, or do I need to have fear in this to be strong in this to protect myself? So, oh crap, what was I going to say? Take a look at your fear as we walk through these things. Why am I afraid? Why am I afraid in this situation? Is it something that is currently legitimate danger? Or is this a trigger from my past? Right?
You know what I do when I haven't taken my meds in a long time? I learned this because I did that not too long ago. I have what to me is like general existential terror. I mean,
Okay.
I'm just terrified that I'm going to die. It's just like an
Okay.
imminent feeling that I'm going to die any moment, that something's going to kill me.
Wow.
And then I think what I do is I project that fear onto other things that aren't really threatening to me because I need to explain the fear. I don't do this consciously,
Yeah.
but I would hear like a plane going overhead in my apartment where I live, and it would just hover.
Yeah.
And it seemed to be hovering when I was thinking certain things or whatever. But I think what my mind's trying to do is it's trying to find the cause of the fear so that it can deal with it. But when fear is that great, you can
Yeah.
deal with it. And
Yeah.
I didn't even realize that my mind was doing that. It's so convincing at the time.
It is. It is. What I think and feel is real. What I believe this to be is reality to me. No matter what y'all think,
Yeah.
this is my world. This is my reality. And I want to be able to choose. Come on, hon. I want to be able to choose today what I'm going to do with that fear. Look at the cause, like you said. And if I can figure this out, I'm more likely to be able to deal with it then. If I can get the information, I'm more likely to be able to deal with it then. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
The more I know about myself and about what I fear, what makes me angry, what makes me sad, those things, the more I'm able to deal through. I think the more I'm able to walk through them, when they say walking through that fear. So we want to take a look at the fear. This one's interesting. Turn your ear to fear. What is the message that it's sending you? So often when we stop and listen, we really hear what the fear is saying. It can tell us something about our deepest values. It can feel scary. We can often feel scared to do the thing that brings us closer to the fullest expression of who we are and of our deepest desires of our hearts. Listen to that fear. What am I afraid of? We said rejection, success, failure, all those things, right? So if I can find the message, why am I afraid of this? Before I went back to school, I could not have imagined going back to, that was not even on my radar. And I was encouraged by a support group, and that really gave me the strength and the courage to try this new thing, right? But I was terrified. I was terrified because it had been 30 years since I went to school, and I definitely wasn't in that school mentality. I was in there with a bunch of kids, right? I mean, whose parents still loved them and they just kept paying for their schooling. So, and it was a scary thing because I didn't know. But the more information I got, the syllabus, the book, the conversations in class, the less I feared my inabilities. Does that make sense? The less I feared my inabilities. So I want to be able to know what these fears are. Hey, Elijah. Take an action step towards your values. Once you've become familiar with fear and heard what the message it might be communicating to you, the next step is to take action. You do not need to be fearless to practice this step. Just a dose of courage and connection to our values. What matters most to us and what is an action step you can take towards that. I want to be able to get what I want, right? It always goes back to our needs. And fear can stop me from getting my needs met. I got to get over that. I've got to face it in a way. Here it says, look at your fear and understand it. Turn your ear to your fear to listen to the message and take action. Isn't this what we talk about all the time? Looking at something, understanding something, facing something, and going into action, right? I went to school. I was terrified, but I went because I had people around me that encouraged me. Our support group can be critical in our bravery, right? When I got people behind me, right, I feel more comfortable in taking the steps I need to take, right? That's my posse. That's my tribe, right? And I know if I know they're with me, I know that even if I fail, it's going to be all right, right? Even if I fail, it's going to be all right. So that action is critical, just like everything we do, every emotion we face, every situation we face, it's action, action, and more action. What can we do to get over our fear? What are some actions we can do? Step out on faith. That faith in our support network, and that includes our higher power, if that's a way we do, to step out in that faith. It says, do not fear or be dismayed. Tomorrow go out and face them, for your higher power is with you. And I like that. That gives me strength today. Just that little phrase. I'm not a big Bible person, but that sometimes you just hook on to those little sayings, right? Face your fear, walk in faith, all those things. All right. Yes.
I say, let go of the past and pray, meditate, read books, listen to therapeutic music, like stuff like that. Watch a movie that's therapeutic, listen to music that's therapeutic that has a meaning. Instead of making you sad, something that uplifts your spirit.
Yeah, that helps us be strong, doesn't it?
Yeah.
It does. It helps me. It helps me a lot. All those things, meditation, opening ourselves up to things around us that can help us, right? I want to be strong. I want to take a look at this fear and see how I can get around it, how I can walk through it and feel it and get to the other side of it. See, I say go around it because that's what I usually do. I put my armor on and I don't even feel it. Right. So, and that's what we
And a
do.
lot of times, I guess, if you're in the thick of doing something, like working a job and washing the dishes or vacuuming the floor, whatever it is you're doing, you might want to kind of set aside a certain time to do that because it's kind of hard to do all that while you're doing something else, I think.
A plan.
Okay.
a plan to face the fear, a plan to do things so I won't be as fearful.
Okay.
Right? For me, if I can't meditate because I can't shut my brain up. So, but
You mean it
I'm,
works?
huh?
You mean it works?
What
You prayed works?
praying works for me?
That was horrible. I didn't appreciate that. So,
It works for me. Well,
I got
it's
nothing
just
to go around
just me, just my voice.
you.
Go towards the light, Carol Ann. Yes, sir.
That means being brave, no matter what the situation is. Sometimes you gotta care on other people, help you out in the situation for a reason.
Yeah.
Unity is a powerful thing in life. You ain't got no unity, you know, all that stuff by yourself. It's hard to help you do what you're going.
Yeah.
Sometimes you gotta grab somebody, hey, walk with me. And ain't
Yeah.
nothing wrong with asking people for help.
Yeah.
Guess what? There's something wrong with you. Don't ask for help.
That's it. Asking for help is critical. It's in everything, isn't it? I can't do this alone. And the cool thing is I don't have to face my fear alone. I grab my people, the person that understands this, right? When I went back to school, I talked to people that were in the same situation. You know, when I've faced different fears in my job, in dealing with certain people, whether it's family or friends or people I don't like. You know, that's a big fear for me. That I don't know, hurting somebody's or God knows what. We go through it, don't we? We do. And it's all right because that's a natural human experience. It's a natural reaction. And I got to remember that today. And if I can remember that, let me see. It says a fearless leap of faith can take you places you never even imagined. Being fearless in our endeavors because the other side of fear is all we ever wanted. That's it. It can be, can it? Yeah. Faith, bravery, courage. What?
Like last night, I felt just really confident for some reason when I went to the grocery store.
Yeah.
And I came back and I was like, I haven't felt that way in a long time, but I was ready to approach people like a neighbor I had to walk past. I shook his hand.
Nice.
And asked his friend what his name was. And then I went in and somebody, I think partly maybe because I was evidently feeling well, when I'd asked for my MVP card, somebody offered me theirs without me asking or anything. But it felt like everything was just working well.
Yeah.
Kind of optimism. That kind of, you can't hold me down. I
Yeah.
wouldn't even think about it in negative terms. It was just, I felt that expansive mood thing they talk about. Everything just felt possible.
Ooh, everything felt possible. I really like that.
Maybe not everything.
Well, yeah, but I mean, yeah. Yeah, we get into that. Yeah.
As far as going to the grocery store or whatever, sometimes just small things can be,
Yeah.
for me, very scary.
Yeah.
And it wasn't for me. It
Good.
was very different.
I think when we have that, when we do things that promote bravery, right? I don't know if you know the Waffle House, Covered and Smothered. That's what they do their eggs and hash browns and shit. Covered and smothered. That's how I am every morning. I come into my day with a set practice of prayer, certain things I do every day that make me feel more comfortable and stronger, right? And part of what I do every day is put on my armor. But there's some people that I can let in a little bit, right? I'm not as afraid to let myself be vulnerable. I think that's the scariest thing. We said rejection, acceptance, right? Fear of loss, fear of losing people and things. This is really scary stuff.
Especially you've already lost a lot.
Yes,
Yeah.
based on our experience. Yeah. If I've lost a lot, I'm going to be much more fearful because that's my experience. when I'm brave, the more I face my fears and go through them, the more often I'll be able to do that. You know, it's habits. It's habits.
If I start using drugs, I start doing everything I can myself.
You
I
s-
can be who I want to be. I don't give a damn what somebody think about me. What I think about me. I'm walking with me. It's that simple.
Who you want to be.
You do what I want to be.
Yeah.
And be grateful with that. I know.
All right. Gratitude. I love gratitude. Gratitude is a sword that'll cut through a lot of stuff, won't it? I'm looking up a certain quote. Somebody talk quick. Mingo, say something. I'm putting you all on the spot today, my friend. Deep in thought. Okay. There's a quote about habits and how we get into. Of course, I can't find it. Here it is. Watch your thoughts. They become your words. Watch your words. They become your actions. Watch your actions. They become your habits. Watch your habits. They become your character. Watch your character. It becomes your destiny. Really like that because it's as I learn and as I choose. What do I have a habit of today? Right? What do I want to take out of this situation? What do I want to be? What do I want my destiny to be? Every choice I make leads me to that thing I want, right? And even, I don't know. Yeah, see, this is just my belief. Before I came down here to be in the world, me and my higher power got together and we had a team meeting and we assessed my needs and my strengths and all that, like we do in services. So we had this meeting and decided what my life was going to be and what I was going to go through. And it was plan A to B, right? Easy peasy. Well, I went A, way off that path. But, I always came back to it. And I'd go way off, but I'd always come back to it. Somehow my humanness would bring me back to that space of completeness, maybe not completeness, maybe calm, just a feeling of comfort. I'm feeling good today. I want to run with that.
We know it's there. We know it's there.
Yeah.
It's there. But I want to go over here.
Yeah.
Let me do this. I'll be right back.
Yeah.
Sometimes you won't make it back.
Yeah. That's it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know, but fear is tricky. Fear can be really tricky because we need it, right? But it can overcome us, can take us over. So that's it. I want to create habits of bravery. My thoughts become my words. I want to speak courage, right? I want to not only tell myself in my head and out loud that I am a strong human being, right? That's what I want today. I want to tell myself and you that we can get through this, right? You and me walk side by side. Instead of you dragging me or you pulling me back, walk beside me and help me walk through this fear. And that's the kind of stuff we do. We do here at PRN. We help people just be and see what they want to see, what their needs are, what their desires are, what their hopes are, what their fears are, so we can get to the other side of that. Right?
For me, on the field, it's not that really, like you say, like you fearful of a Rottweiler gonna
Yeah.
eat you up or something
Yeah.
like that. Now that's a scary fear. But it's the small fears that really debilitate me. Like, I'm fearful of public speaking.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm fearful of meeting new people who got to carry on a conversation with.
Yeah.
I'm fearful of like he said, going to the grocery store. All these
Yeah.
little things, them little things right there, when I can practice facing them and walking through it and get to the other side. That's what the growth and the transformation comes in.
Yeah.
I get better at the practice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Practice, and more practice.
Fear ain't that debilitating, and I can recognize it when it come up and know what I need to do to overcome.
That's it.
Yeah.
We understand it a little bit better. We wrap our head around it a little bit, and then I can make those choices. Then I can practice recovery. Yes, ma'am. Nice and loud.
Well, I don't have a fear of meeting people because I'm an open person.
Mm-hmm.
I go to a meeting, I'm drunk and I'm mad.
Mm-hmm.
But the fear of thing is when I just find myself in different situations, odd situations, like if I see, just to say, if I see an old bill of mine,
Uh-huh.
I get scared
Yeah.
because I don't trust myself. Or I know my
Yeah.
and I get scared. So I have to remove myself from the situation.
Yes.
So I just go into like open functions, open mic, poetry. I'm all for it.
Yeah, you're like me. We love to talk about ourselves, don't we? But that's good. We know, you know what your fears are and what your fears aren't. So that's good. So you said that your patterns in the past make you fearful because you have a certain set of behaviors that aren't acceptable, that don't meet your need, right? They're not beneficial. They're not going to get you to that place. But the more you are successful, like Jimmy said, as we practice, the more success you have in walking through and staying clean and sober. Fall back on that, right? So that becomes your habit. Your habit, which becomes your character as I walk through this situation. Almost said as I walk through the valley of death.
Right.
I don't know the rest of it though. There you go. So,
I think gratitude keeps the
mm,
It is.
we needed to get back to that, didn't we, William? Yeah.
People that are using drugs and stuff, I felt so open. I felt I was courageous. I could do anything.
Yeah.
And I said that everything in my life, I don't know about what nobody think about me. I work on what I have to do about it.
Yep. My dear sponsor used to have a shirt that said, what you think about me is not my business. That's right. And the gratitude that we can have for that kind of courage. Now that takes some courage not to worry too much about what others think. You know, I ain't there yet, but I don't know that I'll ever be there. That fear of rejection is hard.
And I think to some extent you need to be concerned with others things within limits.
Yeah.
You know, you don't want to piss everybody off or you're going to have a hard time getting through your day.
Yeah.
You know, but you know what? I can definitely go overboard with that. I do a lot. I've always had anxiety problems. And since like 7th, 8th grade, I think from just not fitting in, or maybe just I felt I didn't belong, that habit was set in, and it's pretty deeply entrenched.
Yeah.
But sometimes I do rise above it, like yesterday when I went to Food Lions.
Yeah.
So there are little, rising above the clouds every now and then to the sunlight.
I think the trick is for me to figure out what got me there.
Okay.
You know, if I can take a step back and go, okay, I did this and this and this in the morning.
Okay.
I got to shower every morning. That gives me strength. I feel like I've washed yesterday off and I'm ready to face today.
I think what did it for me was I sat down and I played my keyboard for the first time in a long time. And I wasn't very good. I did make a lot of mistakes, but I was praying pretty well.
Yeah.
And I think confidence in conjunction with doing something I enjoyed
Mm.
that made me feel better. I played Cole Porter. Cole Porter is very sad a lot of
Yeah.
the times, but I love to play his music because it's almost being drunk on sadness.
Oh, wow.
It's very emotional for me, which maybe doesn't sound like a good thing. But sadness can be a beautiful emotion if you inhabit it a certain way.
Yeah.
And I like his music a lot.
You're doing things that promote courage.
Yeah, without even knowing it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's it. I got to find what I like so I can be strengthened enough to go through life to get what I want.
Yeah.
Right?
You find those things that feed you.
Yes.
Yeah.
Those things that feed me, and gratitude definitely is one of them.
Okay. Yeah.
Taking a shower in the morning is important to me. Talking to people here, right? Because I have a hard time on the weekends when I'm not here. Y'all say that, I have a hard time too, because I don't get to talk to the people that nourish me. But I've got to practice, and more practice.
You had to gas up. You know what I'm saying?
You got to gas up.
You had to gas up.
Like Chris was saying, find those things so you got the strength to get through it.
Run empty and you don't gas up.
That's right. Can't leave your bucket empty either, can you? That's it. That's it. We got to be strong every day. This recovery thing ain't no joke. Yeah. But you know what? We're getting out of it alive instead of the other alternative. All right, I'm going to read this one more time. Watch your thoughts, they become your words. Watch your words, they become your actions. Watch your actions, they become your habits. Watch your habits, they become your character. Watch your character, it becomes your destiny. Everything we do, every habit we create is getting us to the place that we want to be, right? So it's those stepping stones every day. Every day as I walk through.
Is that the Buddha? It sounds a lot like the Buddha.
I think it's Pooh.
Okay.
Winnie the Pooh. Not Pooh. Winnie the
Have
Pooh.
you read the Tao of Pooh?
No.
It's Winnie the Pooh is a Taoist. So he answers all the questions in a very simple way.
I need
The
that.
Tao of Pooh, it's a really
Yeah.
good book, yeah.
I need to do that. I need to read that.
And then they have the Da piglet. Da is like virtue in Chinese, Te. So more like the healing virtues of the plant than like virtuous behavior.
Oh, that sounds good. I'm going to have to check that out. There you go. You're going to get me to read. It'll never work. All right. I want to thank the crew in here. I want to thank the crew out there. If you see this, if you're watching this, share it. There may be somebody else that needs to be fearless today. Call our warm line, 833-390-7728. It's an immediate contact to a peer support specialist that has experience and resources. These are people that know how to listen. All right. So be fearless. Go forth. Conquer. Quest. Whatever you want to do, just get through the day and have a good day. All right. Keep peace and share love and go out there and change the world.